to stop the impacts of climate change, to stop the rising sea levels, to roll back the seas as King Canute did. He has to acknowledge the reality of climate change. He has a responsibility as the president-elect now, which is different from his responsibility as a candidate, to protect the American people from the economic, health, and security threats of climate change. And one way for President-elect Trump to deliver on the millions of jobs he promised to create for Americans is by embracing the renewable energy revolution and competing on a global scale. A number of other countries around the world, China, India, Brazil, Germany, and others, are leaders in this space. The U.S. needs to maintain its leadership in this space if we're going to enjoy the benefits of the clean energy revolution. It's important to recognize, as Mariana said, that progress will continue to be made at the subnational level in the U.S. by states, by cities, by businesses across the country. We have created now 30 states that have renewable electricity requirements, which has driven the market for clean renewable technologies in the United States. Those are not going away. So the drive to decarbonize the U.S. economy will continue regardless of what President Trump does. If he does follow through on his talk about cutting back on President Obama's climate action plan, it's obvious that that will have some impact by taking the federal government out of the game, at least initially, but it won't stop the trend towards the clean energy economy. And I would note that while there's divisions between the Democrats and the Republicans in Congress on climate policy and climate science, there's been bipartisan support for investments in clean energy technology, as indicated by the recent 5-year extension of the production tax credit for wind and solar energy, as well as for ramping up investments in climate resilience to help local communities that are on the front lines of climate impacts. The infrastructure initiatives that President-elect Trump put out during the campaign provide opportunities to inject new momentum into those investments, both in clean energy and climate resilience. I would say that China, India, Brazil, Europe, other major countries in this process will continue to move ahead with the climate commitments they have made under Paris, not because they're trying to please the United States, but because it's in their own self-interest to protect their people from the impacts of climate change and to share in the benefits of the clean energy revolution, as well as the associated co-benefits of reducing the public health impacts of air pollution. And finally, I would say that if a President Trump were not to honor the U.S. commitments under the Paris Agreement, it will negatively impact his ability to get the cooperation of world leaders on other issues he cares about, such as trade and terrorism. Climate change has become a geopolitical issue of the top order, and no country can be perceived as not doing its fair share on climate without serious consequences for its standing in the world.